You earned twice what you did 5 years ago. So why does your bank account look exactly the same? And if twice is not quite your story, try the version that is almost everyone's. You earn meaningfully more than you did a decade ago, and you do not feel a single dollar of it. The raises happened. You can see them on the paperwork. The balance did not move, or it moved so slightly that you have stopped checking, which is its own kind of answer. There is a name for this. It is called lifestyle creep, and it is not a personal failing or a discipline problem. It is a default setting, and defaults run whether you agree with them or not. Here is how strange it gets. In a survey of more than 5,000 people last year, about 40% of households earning $300,000 or more said they live paycheck to paycheck. Among households earning $50,000 to $100,000, the figure was 36%. The very high earners reported more financial stress than the middle, on 8 or 9 times the income. Quick disclaimer before we go further. This channel is educational. I am not a financial advisor, I do not know your situation, and nothing here is personalized advice. Every figure is verified against primary sources and current as of recording, which means tax limits and rates will drift. Check anything that matters against a professional you actually pay. No face. No courses. No bees. Nothing is being sold to you at any point in this video, and there is no link in the description that pays me if you click it. What we are going to do is follow 2 people. Same job, same salary, same raises, same market, same 30 years. One of them lets the raises disappear. The other keeps half. After 10 years, one of them has exactly double the money. Not roughly double. 2.00 times, which is what the arithmetic produced before I went looking for a headline. After 30 years, they are $1,600,000 apart on paychecks that were identical every single month. We will also cover the part that usually gets left out of videos like this. Some of why you feel broke is not creep at all. And pretending otherwise would be dishonest. Real wages actually fell over the last year. Both halves of that story are in here. Because you cannot fix the part that is yours if nobody tells you which part is not. Lifestyle creep, sometimes called lifestyle inflation, is what happens when your spending rises in lockstep with your income. Every extra dollar earned becomes an extra dollar spent. Draw it, and the picture is 2 lines going up at the same angle, forever, never separating. Income rises. Spending rises identically. The distance between them, which is your wealth, never changes. That distance is the only thing that matters. Not your salary, not your title, not your spending. The gap. And creep is the specific condition of having a gap that refuses to widen no matter what you earn. The reason it is so durable is that it only moves one direction. Spending ratchets up easily and comes back down with enormous difficulty, which is why a raise is so much easier to absorb than to reverse. It works by reclassification. Something that was a treat 3 years ago is now simply what you do. The upgrade did not make you happier. It moved your baseline and then became invisible. The national scoreboard on this is not encouraging. As of June, Americans saved 2.7% of after-tax income, according to the Bureau of Economic Analysis. 2.7 cents out of every dollar that reaches your pocket. In January of this year, the same figure was 4.5%, so it moves, but it moves inside a narrow and low range. The most recent census figure puts median household income at $83,730. This is not a country of people with nothing left over. It is a country where what is left over gets spent, which brings back that survey result, because it is the cleanest evidence that this is not an income problem. 40% of households above $300,000 reporting paycheck to paycheck. The researchers who ran it attributed the high earner result directly to lifestyle creep, describing it as luxuries becoming necessities. Those households are not poor. They are fully committed. That word committed is the useful one. The problem is rarely that high earners buy expensive things. It is that they buy expensive obligations. And an obligation is a claim on every future paycheck. One number from that same survey that I am not going to skip. 57% of households earning under $50,000 said they lived paycheck to paycheck, and they were the most stressed group of all. For those households, this is not creep. It is arithmetic. When housing and food and healthcare consume the income, there is no lifestyle to trim, and nothing in this video should be read as suggesting otherwise. This video is for the people in between and above. If your income has risen substantially and your balance has not, the mechanism we are about to take apart is very likely yours. Meet Marcus Ellery. 58 years old, operations manager at a regional distributor outside Harrisburg. He is opening a retirement statement he has been avoiding for a while. Marcus earns $144,000 a year. 25 years ago, he earned $75,000. He has been promoted 4 times and he has never once missed a retirement contribution. The statement says $214,000. Marcus is not confused about the market. He is confused about where 25 years of raises physically went. So let us rewind and watch it happen in slow motion, starting with a single raise, because the whole mechanism is visible inside one of them. Marcus is 33. He walks out of a review with a $6,000 raise on a $75,000 salary. That is 8%, and it feels like a real event. The number in his head on the drive home is $6,000. That is the number he tells his wife. It is also not a number that will ever appear in his life. At $75,000, with this year's standard deduction, his taxable income sits in the 22% federal bracket. Raised dollars are taxed at the top, not the average. 22% federal on the new dollars. 7.65% to Social Security and Medicare. Before any state income tax, he keeps about 70 cents of each raised dollar. $6,000 becomes $4,221. That is $351.75 a month, spread across 12 pay cycles. Here is the scale of it. The average new vehicle payment in America right now is $770 a month. Marcus's entire raise covers 46% of one average car payment. The average used vehicle payment is $531. Marcus is already driving something with a payment near that, so the upgrade in front of him costs $239 a month. $239 a month is $2,868 a year. That single decision consumes 68% of his after-tax raise, and he still feels like he got a raise. The average new vehicle loan now runs 69.5 months. So that 68% is committed for nearly 6 years, 3 of which will happen after he has forgotten the raise ever occurred. The average new car loan is now $43,925, and more than 35% of them stretch beyond 6 years, up from about 31% a year ago. That leaves Marcus about $1,300 a year of raise, which is $112 a month to absorb everything else that grew that year. A streaming tier, a gym that is nicer, a phone plan with more on it, a delivery membership. None of these is a mistake. Every one of them is under $20 and permanent. By the end of the year, the $6,000 is completely gone, converted entirely into monthly obligations, and Marcus could not itemize where it went if you offered him money to try. Now the interesting question. Marcus is competent. He manages a warehouse and a budget larger than his salary. Why is he so bad at this specific thing? The answer is a well-documented feature of human psychology called hedonic adaptation. You return to a stable baseline of satisfaction after almost any change in circumstances, good or bad. The new car is thrilling for about 3 weeks. Then it is the car. Not a worse car than it was, just the normal one, and the excitement is fully spent while the payment has 66 months left. The pleasure decays on a curve measured in weeks. The obligation runs on a schedule measured in years. That mismatch is the engine of the whole problem. The same mechanism runs backward, which is genuinely good news. People adapt to downgrades too. A smaller apartment is devastating for a month and unremarkable by autumn. So why does it only seem to move one way? Because we do not choose downgrades voluntarily. Adaptation makes them survivable, but nothing in your head volunteers for the experiment. The second mechanism is delivery. A raise never arrives as a lump sum you have to consciously allocate. It arrives as $351, 12 times, mixed into money you were already spending. Hand someone $4,200 in an envelope and they will think hard about it. Add the same amount to their direct deposit in slices, and it is absorbed without a single decision. You can watch this in how differently people treat a bonus. Same money, arriving visibly, and suddenly it gets allocated on purpose. The delivery mechanism, not the amount, determines the behavior. The third mechanism is social. As income rises, your reference group changes. New colleagues, new neighborhood, new normal, and every one of those comparisons quietly resets what counts as reasonable. Nobody experiences this as envy. It arrives as a sense that something is now simply expected, which is a far more powerful feeling than wanting and much harder to argue with. Promotions accelerate it because they come with implied costs. The role expects a certain car in the lot, a certain address, a certain level of picking up the check. The fourth mechanism is the most human. You worked for it. The raise came with more responsibility and longer weeks, and spending it feels like the point of having earned it. That instinct is not wrong, it is just aimed at the wrong target. Saving the raise is not denying yourself the reward. It is buying a different reward, one that pays out later and never expires. The upgrade buys 3 weeks of pleasure and 6 years of payments. The saved raise buys a permanent reduction in how long you have to keep working. Both are rewards. One is much larger. Now I have to interrupt my own video, because everything I have said so far puts this entirely on the individual, and a meaningful part of it is not. Some of why you feel broke is not creep. It is that your pay has not actually risen in the way that matters, and telling you to fix your habits would be blaming you for arithmetic you do not control. Consumer prices rose 3.4% over the 12 months through July, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Core inflation, excluding food and energy, ran 2.5%. Average hourly earnings grew about 3.2% over the same period. Prices rose faster than pay, which means real average hourly earnings fell 0.2% over the year. That is not a feeling. It is a published measurement, and it says the average worker got poorer. So if you received a 3% raise this year, you did not receive a raise. You received an inflation adjustment that came up slightly short, and every dollar of it was already committed on arrival. That distinction matters for how you use this video. A raise that merely matches inflation is not raise money. It is maintenance. Trying to bank half of it will fail, because there is no half to bank. It goes deeper than the headline index. Housing, healthcare, and childcare have risen faster than general inflation for years, and those three are not lifestyle. They are the floor. Shelter alone rose 3.2% over the year, and it accounted for roughly 2/3 of the entire monthly increase in the index in July. Rent is not a spending choice. This is why 57% of households under $50,000 report living paycheck to paycheck. There is no creep to diagnose. The income does not cover the floor. So let me draw the line as cleanly as I can. If your income covers your genuine costs with something left over and nothing is accumulating, that is creep, and this video will help. If your income does not cover your genuine costs, that is not a discipline problem, and no amount of automating transfers will fix it. That is an income problem or a cost problem, and it needs different tools. Most people watching are somewhere in the middle, with some real cost pressure and some genuine creep layered on top. Both are true at once, and only one of them is inside your control. The rest of this video is about that controllable part. Not because it is the biggest force in your finances, but because it is the one that responds to a decision you can make this week. So let us run the experiment properly. Marcus at 33 and a colleague hired the same month, same role, same pay. We will call her Dana Reyes. Both earned $75,000. Both received 3.5% raises every year. Both saved 5% of pay to start, which is $3,750 a year. Both invest in the same broad, low-cost fund. No fund is being named or recommended here. We assume the long-run market average of 10% nominal, compounded annually. There is exactly one difference between them, and it is not effort, income, intelligence, or luck. It is what happens on the day a raise takes effect. Marcus set his contribution as a fixed dollar amount in his first month on the job and never touched it again. $3,750 a year for as long as he works there. Dana does one thing differently. Every time she gets a raise, she moves half of the after-tax increase into her contribution on the effective date before she has lived on the larger paycheck. Year 1, they are indistinguishable. Both earn $75,000, both save $3,750. Both end the year with $3,750. Year 2, salary rises to $77,625. Marcus still saves $3,750. Dana saves $4,673, $923 of difference. That is the entire intervention in year 2, and if you showed it to either of them, neither would predict it mattered. Year 3. Marcus has $12,412. Dana has $15,307, still small enough that Marcus would not notice if he saw both statements. Year 5. Marcus, $22,894. Dana, $33,443. The gap has reached $10,500, and it is starting to look like a real difference. And their lives look nearly the same. Dana still gave herself half of every raise. Her apartment is slightly smaller. Her car is a couple years older. That is the entire visible cost. Year 7. Marcus, $35,577. Dana, $59,836. She now has more at year 7 than he will have at year 10. Look at what is driving it. Dana's contribution has climbed from $3,750 to $9,798 a year, purely by keeping half of raises she was going to receive anyway. Marcus is still putting in $3,750. His salary has risen 23%. His contribution has risen 0%. His savings rate has quietly fallen from 5 to 4. By year 10, Dana is contributing $13,324 a year, and Marcus is contributing $3,750. Let us open both statements. 10 years, same job title, same employer, same salary, same raises, same city. Let us open both statements at the same time. Marcus has $59,765. He contributed $37,500 of that, $3,750 a year, every year, without fail. Dana has $119,513. She contributed $83,176 because her contribution grew every time her salary did. Dana's balance is 2.00 times Marcus's, not approximately double. Double, that is not a number I rounded to make a point. It is what the model produced. The gap is $59,748, which is very slightly less than Marcus's entire balance. In 10 years, Dana built a second Marcus out of money he spent without deciding to. Notice where the difference came from. It is not returns. They earned the identical percentage on identical funds. Dana simply put in $45,000 more, and the market did the rest. In today's purchasing power, that $59,748 gap is worth about $44,458, smaller than the headline, and still a full year of most people's take-home pay. Now the fair part. Marcus is not living in squalor. He has a better car, a better apartment, better furniture, and a longer list of things he pays for monthly. He bought something with that money. The question is whether he would trade any of it, right now, for the $60,000 sitting in Dana's account. Most people, asked honestly, say yes to at least half of it. And here is the twist that makes lifestyle creep so hard to see. If you put Marcus and Dana in a room, you could not tell them apart. Dana is not visibly poor. Her car is 3 years older. Her apartment is a bit smaller. She kept half her raises, which means her lifestyle still improved for 10 straight years. She just improved it half as fast. That is the whole intervention. Not deprivation, not a budget spreadsheet, not cutting coffee. She improved her life at half the speed of her income growth, and it doubled her net worth. And she made that decision once a year, on the day the raise took effect. 10 decisions total across a decade. That is the entire labor involved. Marcus also made 10 decisions. He just made them by not making them. The default setting on a raise is that it disappears into your standard of living, quietly, without any paperwork. This is the sentence I would tattoo on a wall if I had a face. Money that is not assigned a job gets assigned one anyway, and the job it gets assigned is spending. 10 years is where most comparisons stop, and it is the least dramatic point on the chart. Let us keep both of them going, because the gap does not stay proportional. 20 years in, Marcus has $214,781. He is still saving $3,750 a year on a salary that is now $144,000. Watch what happened to his savings rate without him touching it. He started saving 5% of his income. 20 years later, the same dollar amount is 2.6%. Marcus never decided to save less. He decided nothing. Holding a contribution flat while your income grows is a decision to cut your savings rate in half, and it does not feel like one. Dana, at 20 years, has $626,668. The gap has grown to $411,887. The ratio moved from 2 times to 2.9. The gap is not just growing in dollars, it is growing as a multiple, because Dana's contributions keep rising and his do not. 30 years. Marcus finishes at $616,853. That is a real number, and it is not nothing. It is roughly the median outcome for a diligent saver who never adjusted. Dana finishes at $2,220,223. Same salary, same raises, same funds, same market, same 30 years. $1,603,370, separating two people whose paychecks were identical for 3 decades. And every dollar of that gap came from money that Marcus never experienced as a windfall. Raises arrive quietly, in small monthly increments, already absorbed by the time you notice them. Here is the same idea shrunk down to one decision. Take that one $6,000 raise, the $4,221 of it that survives taxes, and bank just that every year for 30 years, $694,329. One raise, one decision, made once, and then left alone. That is what a single unabsorbed raise is worth over a career. The fix has a name that is nearly a century old and sounds like a poster in a bank lobby. Pay yourself first. It is worth taking seriously precisely because it sounds so tired. Most people run the wrong order. Income arrives, bills go out, life happens. And whatever is left at the end of the month goes to savings. That is paying yourself last. The problem with paying yourself last is that there is a law of household finance nobody wrote down. Spending expands to consume whatever is available. There is never anything left at any income. That is not a moral claim, it is a measurement. As of June 2026, Americans saved 2.7% of after-tax income, according to the Bureau of Economic Analysis. Pay yourself first inverts the sequence. The savings transfer happens on payday, automatically, before the money is visible in checking. Then you live on what remains. The word doing the work in that sentence is automatically. This only functions if it happens without you. Any version that requires you to decide monthly will fail within a year. The psychology is the same trick your employer already uses on your taxes. Money withheld before you see it is money you never adapt to having, so you never feel its absence. The strongest version of this lives inside a workplace retirement plan, because the contribution is set as a percentage of pay rather than a dollar amount. That difference is the entire Marcus problem solved by a form field. If your contribution is set to a percentage, every raise automatically raises your savings. If it is set to a dollar figure, every raise dilutes it. Go and look at how yours is set right now before you finish this video. A meaningful number of people have a fixed dollar deferral from a job they took 11 years ago and have never revisited. Many plans also offer automatic escalation, which raises your contribution rate by 1 percentage point each year until you hit a ceiling you choose. Switch it on and the problem manages itself. For 2026, the workplace deferral limit is $24,500. If you are 50 or older, the catch-up adds $8,000, taking you to $32,500. And if you turn 60, 61, 62, or 63 during the year, and your plan permits it, the catch-up is $11,250 instead, for a total of $35,750. Outside the workplace, the IRA limit is $7,500, with an $1,100 catch-up at 50 and over, for a total of $8,600. Flagging a number you will still see printed as current. The IRA catch-up sat at a flat $1,000 for many years. It was indexed for the first time this year and is now $1,100. One ordering note: if your employer matches contributions, that comes before everything, including this. A match is an immediate return on the day the money lands, and no fix in this video competes with it. If you want one rule to take away, here it is. When your pay goes up, raise your savings percentage by half of the percentage your pay rose. That is Dana's entire strategy. Half, not all of it. The all-or-nothing version fails because it feels like punishment for good news, and plans that feel like punishment get abandoned in about 4 months. Let us make this concrete enough to actually execute. 4 steps, and they all happen on the same day, which is the day you learn about a raise. Step 1. Before you plan anything, calculate what the raise is actually worth after tax. A $6,000 raise in the 22% bracket is $4,221, $351.75 a month. Most people mentally spend the gross number, which is why raises so reliably feel smaller than they sounded in the meeting. Step 2. On the day the new rate takes effect, increase your automatic contribution by half of the after-tax raise. In this case, about $176 a month. Do it on the effective date, not after the first new paycheck. Once you have banked one paycheck at the higher amount, your baseline has already moved, and the money feels like yours. Step 3. Spend the other half deliberately and out loud. Name the thing. This raise is buying a shorter commute, or paying off the card, or funding 2 weeks in Portugal. That naming step matters more than it looks. Money that is assigned to something specific stops being available for everything else, and diffused spending is what creep is made of. Step 4, and this is the one that protects the other 3. Do not increase a recurring monthly obligation with raise money, not rent, not the car, not the subscriptions. One-time spending is reversible. A monthly obligation is a permanent claim on all future income, and it does not go away when the next hard year arrives. The car is the cleanest illustration. Trading up from the average used vehicle payment to the average new one costs $239 a month, which is $2,868 a year. That single upgrade consumes 68% of the after-tax raise permanently for 69.5 months, which is the average length of a new car loan right now. And loan terms keep stretching to keep payments tolerable. More than 35% of new vehicle loans now run longer than 6 years, up from about 31% a year ago. Some of that is starting to show. 5.6% of outstanding auto debt was 90 days or more delinquent in the first quarter of this year, up 12% from a year earlier. The subscriptions deserve their own 10 minutes. Open your card statement, sort by recurring, and read every line, not from memory, from the statement. In one nationally representative poll, 89% of people underestimated their own monthly subscription total, and 2/3 of those were off by more than $200 a month. Now let me argue against myself for a few minutes, because a video like this can easily curdle into the idea that all spending is failure, and that is both wrong and unhelpful. The point of earning more money is to have a better life. If your standard of living never rises no matter how much you earn, you have not solved lifestyle creep. You have built a different problem. Some upgrades pay for themselves in ways a spreadsheet cannot capture. A reliable car that does not strand you. A home closer to your parents. A mattress that lets you sleep. Buying back time is usually the best trade available. A shorter commute, help with the cleaning. A service that removes a chore you dread. Those upgrades tend to keep delivering. The ones that fade fastest are the ones aimed at other people. Vehicles, watches, address lines, anything whose value comes from being observed. Adaptation eats those the quickest. So here is the test I would use instead of a rule. Not is this expensive, but did I choose this, or did I drift into it because the money was there and something was available? The second test is retrospective. Look at what you upgraded 3 years ago. If you would not choose it again today at the same price, that was creep. If you would, that was a purchase. The third test is the one that actually protects you. Can I undo this in 30 days if I need to? A vacation is reversible in the sense that it is over. A 72-month loan is not. Dana's life improved for 30 straight years. She was not living like a monk with $2 million in an account. She was living at half the speed of her income and enjoying it. That is the honest target. Not zero lifestyle inflation, which nobody sustains, but deliberate lifestyle inflation at a rate slower than your earnings. The gap between those two rates is your entire net worth. Wealth is not what you earn, and it is not what you spend. It is the distance between the two, held open on purpose, for a long time. Which brings us back to Marcus, 58 years old, staring at a statement that does not match 25 years of raises. What do you tell him? Not that he should have started at 30. He knows. Advice that requires a time machine is not advice, it is commentary, and he has had plenty of that. So here is his actual position. He earns $144,000. He has $214,000 saved, and he has the highest income of his entire life. Right now today, that last part is the asset nobody counts. Marcus never had a $144,000 salary before. The gap between what he earns and what he needs has never been wider. For a lot of people at 58, the expensive years are behind them. The tuition stopped. The mortgage is close. The house is quieter and cheaper than it was a decade ago. Every one of those endings is a raise that arrives without an announcement. And an unannounced raise is exactly the kind that vanishes fastest, because there is no meeting to make you notice it. Marcus can put $32,500 into his workplace plan this year. At 60, he can put $35,750, plus $8,600 in an IRA. That is a genuinely different scale of saving than he has ever done, and it is available specifically because he is old, which is the one time this rule has ever worked in anyone's favor. 12 years is not 45. It is also not nothing. It is long enough for a large contribution in a decent market to change what his 70s look like considerably. The blunt version is this. Marcus cannot get the last 25 years back. He can absolutely stop giving away the next 12, and the next 12 are the highest earning years he will ever have. Because the default is still running. It has been running for 25 years without a single instruction from him. Turning it off takes about 15 minutes on a benefits website. That is the whole action item. Change one field from a dollar amount to a percentage. Switch on auto escalation. Then go and live your life and stop reading statements. So, you earn more than you did 5 years ago, and your account looks the same. Now you know the mechanism, and it is not that you are bad with money. Marcus and Dana earned the same salary for 30 years, and ended $1,600,000 apart. The difference was what happened on 10 or 15 specific days. Did I choose this, or did I drift into it? Would I buy it again today? Can I undo it in 30 days? 3 questions. Applied to anything that costs you money every month. This week, do 2 things. Check whether your retirement contribution is a percentage or a fixed dollar amount, and fix it if it is a dollar amount. Then, read every recurring charge on your statement. And going forward, 1 rule. When your pay rises, raise your saving by half of it on the day it takes effect, before you have ever lived on the larger number. See you tomorrow.